WATD presents John Paul, the Car Doctor. All things automotive. Have questions? Call 781-837-4900. Now, here's John Paul, the Car Doctor.
Well, good Sunday morning, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Car Doctor program on 95.9 WATD. My name's John Paul, the Car Doctor, here to help you with your car problems like I do every Sunday morning. My Sunday morning is usually made up of getting up early and writing my columns that I write for the various newspapers, and kind of spend most of Sunday doing that and looking at all the emails that I get and try to answer those questions, which we'll go into a little bit later in the program. Well, if you know me, one of the things that I'm not always crazy about doing is getting out there and washing and waxing my car. And I like having a clean car, without a doubt. I like having a shiny car, without a doubt. Don't always like all the work involved. But with us is Patrick Jones. He is the CEO of Bling Sauce. Patrick, good morning and welcome to the Car Doctor program.
Good morning. Thanks so much for having us.
Well, first off, I have to say, Bling Sauce, where did the name come from?
It's a great question. Our parent company of our business is Boat Bling, and we initially started in the boating world. And my original business partner and I were actually at a Mexican restaurant in Lake Havasu with some products we were testing, trying to think of the name. And after a few margaritas, the name Hot Sauce kept coming up, and that was what started the brand. So we started Hot Sauce as the product. So,
like many things, margaritas were the inspiration for a lot of good names. So,
Absolutely.
Yeah, your marine product was one of the ones that I was first familiar with. A couple of years ago, I bought a little boat, and it sits in the water in kind of brackish water, and like all boats, it starts to lose a little bit of its luster over time. And I saw this stuff, and it was in the boating section of the local Walmart, and I'm like, I don't know, that's a weird name. Does it work? And I'm like, I'll give it a shot. And I bought a bottle of it and took it home and went, hey, this stuff's pretty good.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, Walmart's one of our many retailers. We have about 7,000 locations where you can pick up the marine products in the U.S. and 3,000 now with our automotive product. But, yeah, that was our bread and butter, and our focus was we really wanted to be, for the first 16 years of our business, we were just focused on really the boating world and into the RV world, but that was really our main focus for the majority of our business life since we developed the company and started the cleaning products in 2006.
Well, and it seems as if it's kind of a natural progression, because sometimes you see a really sharp-looking boat being pulled by a really sharp-looking vehicle. So why not make them both? Why not make products that can satisfy both of those, right?
Yeah, exactly. That was kind of our thought. A couple years ago, we had the idea of, hey, let's get into the automotive industry. It's very huge. It's a huge industry. It's very competitive. What's our strategy, and how do we want to debut this, and how do we want to develop these products? Very made a lot of sense for us with all of the customers that have really nice boats and, to your point, great vehicles. Typically, the industry is all the opposite of that. Everyone that's been a big automotive player for years then decides they want to dabble in the boating industry. We did the inverse of that, for sure, and started working on products, very specific needs for today's market. Nothing we have is the same product as the marine line rebranded. Everything is completely different formulas for today's market for the automotive world.
Well, that's a really good point, because it seems like, and I don't know this because I'm not a chemical engineer and didn't evaluate products on that level, but it seems like sometimes I look at some of these different automotive products, and maybe they have an automotive / RV product or whatever the case is, but sometimes it looks like, to the naked eye, it's the same product in a different bottle with a different fragrance added to it. But your products are truly different, right?
Truly different. Yeah, you do see that in certain applications from some of the big guys that have been around a long time. But for our products, ours are 100% unique formulas designed for a different market. Like example, our vinyl sauce and the conditioned sauce for the marine world, the vinyl cleaner and the conditioner are separate. In the automotive world, we have our leather sauce, which is the cleaner and protectant for the leather seats of vehicles. So just completely different formulations to make it easier for the customers today, so you can enjoy your day and you not spend all day detailing or taking care of something. Just a little spray and wipe, and you're good to go.
And you mentioned the big guys, the big companies. Years back, I had Barry McGuire on our program and talked to him about his company. But looking through the local auto parts store, you guys have a pretty big presence on the shelf.
We do, and I appreciate that. We launched the Bling Sauce Platinum line, which is our automotive line, and our launch partner was AutoZone for that. So the product can now be found, our secret sauce, leather sauce, and trim sauce. The first three products that were launched as part of that line can all be found at about 3,000 AutoZone end caps for the season. So it's doing really, really well there. And that was our goal. I don't want to say it's easy to create a brand and just put it online. It's highly competitive, but we really wanted to keep we've done such a good job as a focus of our company to be retail centric with retailers and dealers and national retailers. We wanted to do that with the automotive line. So it's just a natural progression and fit, and AutoZone has been a great partner for us.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, I tried your trim product, and a neighbor of mine bought one of those Ram ProMaster Winnebagos, and it was sitting in storage for, I don't know, a year and a half or 2 years. And I think it was probably 10 years old, but only had 20,000 miles on it. And he completely disassembled the inside, made it look like brand new. He was working on the outside, but he was on his way up to Maine, and he didn't quite get to the trim, the outside black trim. And I walked over with your trim product and sprayed it on, wiped it off, sprayed it on, wiped it off, and it looked really good afterwards. And a couple weeks later, I was talking to him recently. I said, "How's the trim holding up?" And he says, "It still looks great." So it is an easy product to use, and it does a really nice job.
No, thank you for that. I'm glad you got to try the product as well. And our slogan for the Bling Sauce Platinum line is professional results, amateur effort. We're not going after the pure enthusiast in the car market and the detailing world. We're going after the everyday person that drops off their kids for school and has 20 minutes to run through a quick car wash and wants to just touch up some stuff when they get home or at their garage. We're going after that market and that customer. So everything's got to be very easy to use, spray on, wipe off. And the trim sauce you mentioned is a great three-in-one product. So it's going to protect, clean, and restore that plastic to give it more of that natural look, not a really bright, oily, greasy look, but just a natural look to help restore that condition of the plastic and the trim.
Yeah, and when the program first opened this morning, I mentioned that I'm a little bit lazy sometimes when it comes to keeping my car clean, and a lot of times I'll go out with some waterless car wash product, which can usually work pretty well. And if the car's just dusty and not dirty, and clean the car up that way, and then to go out and use your product after that. Really, my wife has a black car, and black cars look great when they're clean. They look terrible when they're dirty. So I tend to be a little bit more ambitious with that one. But it's funny. I took a picture and posted it on social media on Facebook the other day, and took a picture of the back of the car, and it really was a mirror finish. Looking back to the point where it was a horrible reflection of me in it, but at the same time it was like, this turned into a really shiny surface afterwards, and really made the car look really good.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's exactly what it's supposed to do. And our secret sauce will do that for all the painted surfaces and give it that protection. We call it our spray-on coating. So it is a ceramic base, but we have some polymers and some sealants in there that are also just helping make the ease of use just easy for anyone. Spray on, wipe off, and you will definitely get that shine and the luster that you're looking for.
Now, when ceramic coatings first came out years back, you got this little tiny nail polish sized bottle, and you had to be very careful about how to put it on. And if you did it wrong, you were stuck with kind of a terrible surface afterwards. This stuff is really easy to use.
Yeah, thank you for that. And it is. And, I think we could probably thank our friends for Adams Polishes down there for maybe about 8-10 years ago. Really took this, and I kind of credit them a little bit with figuring out a way to put a ceramic in a bottle that's usable for everybody versus what you're referencing, the old 1 ounce of it for a couple $100 and requiring some professional skills. It has really come a long way in the industry. There's still a lot of misnomers out there about it because there's a lot of products that aren't the same that you can use the word ceramic with versus not ceramic. But the consumers see the results, and the consumers are always judge and jury on this, and they see the results of the product. And the ability to have a sprayable ceramic in a coating today is highly plausible and very effective for the consumer.
Have you gone out to like car shows and cars and coffee events and things like that, and talk to folks at shows and try to get their response back to your product?
Yeah, we've done a few of those in the Phoenix area. One of our business partners actually lives in Tennessee. He's part of the Corvette Club, so does a lot of rides and drives with them through the hills of Tennessee and into Kentucky. And so we really have spent some time with that area. Obviously, Phoenix, where we're based out of, Phoenix, Arizona, it's huge during the winter with snowbirds and Barrett-Jackson and cars and coffee on every corner all winter. So it's tough to select all of the ones we go to, but we have gotten out there a little bit. And after we come back from SEMA this year, when the weather gets a little bit better back here in Phoenix again, then we intend to do some more local car events and support the locals.
I know this is going to sound like a dumb comment, but I really like your bottles. They spray well, they're solid. There's nothing worse than buying some sort of a spray cleaner, wax product, household cleaner, whatever the case is, and either the spray doesn't spray for the life of the bottle or it's just awkward to use. Your trigger sprayers and bottles seem really first rate.
Yeah, we spend a lot of time on packaging, and we appreciate those kind words because that takes a lot of energy just trying to think about how do we want it to look on the shelf, how do we want it to be usable, and ultimately it has to last, right? Trying to be a little bit conscious of the environment. We actually make our bottles a little bit stronger than the industry average. Include a little bit more plastic in them, so that way down the road you can just buy refill jugs of our products and refill them, and those triggers and those sprayers should last for years versus a one-time use. So we really try to put a little more engineering in it from the beginning to make those last longer. And if anyone's listening and you do try our product and you do have an issue with anything on the trigger or the bottle, just reach out to us and we'll get you taken care of.
How did you mentioned the automotive product came up over a couple of margaritas at a Mexican restaurant? What was your background before you got into the appearance products?
Great question. I was actually a finance guy from college, and I've loved boating my whole life. So I met a gentleman through Lake Havasu just for mutual friends boating, and we decided to go in business, and we actually started making billet aluminum engine covers for performance boats out on Lake Havasu. And we did that for probably 5 years, but the first year I realized that wasn't going to be enough to keep the business sustainable and create a long-term business. We needed to have something that everyone could use, which is how we got into the cleaning product line. Other than my original business partner, we would go boating for 3 hours and we would clean for 5 hours. I'm like, there's got to be a better way. There just has to be a better way than this. And that kind of helped to inspire us that, hey, a lot of people are cleaning a lot, or they're just not cleaning because it takes too much work. Like, this is something we can really, really do. And hot sauce and vinyl sauce and conditioned sauce. Our initial launch and our 3 top selling products still today in the boating world were launched in March of 2006. So we kind of revolutionized the quick spray detailer for the marine market back then.
So do you still have and I'm assuming a Go Fast boat? Do you still have one?
I actually do not. I do not. I wish. My wife and I sold it maybe 4 or 5 years ago. We definitely are looking to get back into it, but we put a big emphasis and focus on the business and the branding and a new house. But boating is our passion. It's one of the few things that allows us to truly get out and relax and shut the brain down. So we will definitely be getting a new boat at some point.
So you're like a lot of people. Nothing better than a friend with a boat. Oh, you just got to go find a friend.
100%.
Yeah.
Right now, it's all about friends with boats for sure.
There you go. Tell us a little bit how to use the product. Let's say we got our car out for the springtime. It's springtime in New England. It's time to get the car out of storage, uncover it, wash it. How do you use the products?
Great question. So our 3 main products that you can utilize right now for your standard vehicle. Just wash the car, just a regular wash. Make sure it's dry. There's no real water spots on it afterwards. And to protect and spray on the secret sauce, which is our ceramic spray on coating, literally spray it on, rub it in with a towel. You'll see where it looks like it's evaporating. We call that the flash. Flip the towel over and just buff it clean so there's no residue on it. And that's going to give you that shine and give you the protection of the ceramic there. We think that we've done testing that proves that it'll last 4 to 6 months, but we provide enough product in that bottle to do 2 vehicles 4 times a year, basically. So we recommend people use it every 2 or 3 months. You can do an entire car in 20 minutes. So it's not difficult to use and it's very easy to apply. Same with the trim sauce, spray it on any of the plastics. You can do that every couple weeks, every month. If you want it to be a little bit higher gloss, you can just make another coat on it. That will do pretty well and hold up in the weather and the elements through some car washes. But it is not a petroleum-based product, so it's not going to give it that pure black look. It's just going to give it a natural shine. And then our leather sauce, a fantastic cleaner. Spray it directly onto your surface and just use a nice microfiber towel that's clean and wipe off. And I think everyone pretty much is amazed when they look at that towel for the first time and realize this was on my seat. So many products out there just kind of take a little shine to it and spread all of the dirt around. We're actually removing the dirt and then protecting the leather surface at the same time.
And is there any issues if somewhere down the road someone been using your product and then they're like, every once in a while, once a year, I like to put a good Carnauba wax on my car. Is there any compatibility issues?
None. Yeah, none at all. Thanks to the sprayability of the secret sauce in the exterior, none at all. Same with that. If you're going to do that with a Carnauba, just make sure your car is nice and clean and there's no water spots on it. And most likely, if it's been 2-3 months since you used the secret sauce, there's a very good chance through the elements that has been degraded. So you can then go ahead and just put on the Carnauba, or people, especially in your area, New England area, are getting the car out and want to put the Carnauba now on it, and then just use the secret sauce as protection throughout the rest of the year, rest of the season. Use it as a quick detailer even before you go to a little cars and coffee event. You can totally do that as well.
Yeah, it looks great. And people who know me know that I can be cheap. And I bought a roll of microfiber cloths from someplace. And, there's, I don't know, 1 billion of them in a roll for $15. They were okay. Better microfiber cloths in my opinion, tend to do a better job. Have you guys decided to come up with like a Bling cloth yet or anything?
We haven't. We've looked at it. We've tested a lot. That is something that's on our radar to consider. Our problem is we got to have a really good audience for that. And to get it anywhere close to a competitive price, you have to buy hundreds and hundreds of thousands of them to do that. So we've stuck right now just with recommending, the Costco microfibers that they get are really good, consistent quality. Those work. Even the roll that you have, while you think it might not be the best out there, it'll definitely do the job with any of our products. You don't need anything super special or high-end for ours. Just a good quality cloth. Well, absolutely, microfiber will get it done.
It's funny you say Costco. I was in a Costco for the first time in my entire life yesterday, and I looked at the big bundle of microfiber cloths and said, "Ooh, I like these. I got to take these home with me." So, so there is, it's just I've just found in general that the little bit better cloth just does a little bit nicer job, and maybe it just makes the job a little bit easier. But it is an interesting product where you put it on and like you said, you watch it flash off like almost like paint. If you were spray painting a car and you watch the paint flash afterwards, kind of does the same thing. And then it's sort of, I got the impression the way to use the product is you spray it on, you wipe it off, and then you wait a little bit and go back and do it again. And maybe that's that second time where you go over it that you really get that little extra pop of a shine with it. And then you kind of like, wow, this came out really nice and I didn't break a sweat.
Yeah, you can definitely do it. Certain areas, we see a lot of people that will want to do a couple coats, even of wax or our secret sauce spray-on coating on their hood, an area that is just constantly getting hit by the sun, especially being out here on the West Coast where we have the sun, pretty much 12 months a year. We see a lot of people that will do that, but all it really requires is one coat, and you can put one coat on it. That way you can then get back to the rest of your day and not spend too much time working on it.
Well, in New England, apparently, we get one day of sunshine a year. It seems like lately. So, but people still want to go out and they still want to make their cars look good. You started a relationship with Mike Finnegan, the YouTube guy who was also the Motor Trend guy, who still is the Motor Trend guy again, and that's been a really successful relationship, right?
Yeah, Mike Finnegan's a great guy. We've actually known him through boating, maybe for about 6-7 years. I didn't know him super well, but we knew of him. He was a Southern California guy that was always out at the river in Havasu, which is where we launched and developed all of our boating products originally. So we know him from that. And when we were launching this line a year and a half ago now, when we were really thinking about how we were going to launch this line, there was a boat race in Parker, Arizona. It was in February of 23, and Mike was out there racing. So we talked to him, and he's like, "Yeah, come on out, we'll talk." And at the end of that day, he tried some of the products. He's like, "These are fantastic." And he's like, "And everyone knows I'm lazy." And I was like, and we even joked with him that half of his cars aren't even painted. So, because they're all just works of, they're all in progress. So, right. But he's been fantastic. Great partner, a true guy that has a great fan base, a true car guy. And he uses the products and likes the products because they don't take a lot of time. He really doesn't spend a lot of time cleaning and detailing. That is not his thing. So when he does, he wants it to be quick and simple. And it's been great. We have he was in our SEMA booth last year, which was he just had to wait for 2-3 hours just for autographs and people to meet him. And he spent time talking with everyone. Just a car guy's car guy. Like, just everyone has a ton of respect for him. And we love him. He's fantastic. And he just recently started a new series this year, The Road to SEMA, with Bling Sauce, because he bought a truck that he is going to build, and that will be in our SEMA booth this year. So if anybody wants to see what's in our SEMA booth, you can follow the Mike Finnegan YouTube channel and watch the series as he builds this truck. That'll be kind of an everyday truck that anyone could do basically with parts in your garage to kind of create this. No custom shop or anything needed. So that's the whole concept of it, and that's going to be our SEMA vehicle for 2024.
Sounds great. So where can you buy your products? We mentioned Walmart and AutoZone. Direct from you as well?
Yeah, so any of the marine products you can buy at any of the pretty much any boat dealer, most boat dealers, marinas, Bass Pro, Cabela's, West Marine, Walmart, any of those will carry the marine products. Our automotive products currently for this year are exclusively at AutoZone. So the platinum products are, there's a 16-ounce bottle of each of those that are on the end caps. Actually, during the month of May, it's perfect timing. You can buy two and save $4. So if you see them in AutoZone, go ahead and pick up a couple bottles, save yourself some more money. Otherwise, you can buy them through our website, blingsauce.com. And we also have them all available through our Bling Sauce page on Amazon as well. Just search Secret Sauce or Bling Sauce sauce, and you will get that up on Amazon, where you can always purchase it there. Whatever is the most convenient method for you to pick it up, that's how we want you to get the product.
I heard that there may even be a discount for Car Doctor Radio listeners.
There is. We are definitely doing a discount for these listeners.
And if people want to do that, is there a code or something they need to use?
Yeah, that code, we can get that code for you. Let's confirm to make sure I give you the correct code so they can use that correct.
Sorry if I caught you by surprise there.
Yeah, great thing. I just want to make sure I get the correct code. What? I believe it is Radio 15. Radio 15 will get you 15% off of our website, blingsauce.com.
All right, perfect. Hey, Patrick, I want to thank you for taking a little time out of your Sunday morning and joining us a couple of hours earlier than it is here out in the East Coast. So, again, a great product. I guess where Mike Finnegan and I share a little bit, we're both a little bit lazy when it comes to appearance products, but it's a great product to try out. It's not super expensive, and it does the job. And truth in advertising, stuff works.
No, we really appreciate it. Really appreciate it. And you know what? There's one last thing. Let's sweeten the pot a little bit. Let's change that coupon code to Radio20. Radio20, 20% off your order off blingsauce.com's website.
Perfect. I might have to order some marine sauce.
It's all available. You can get it all right there.
All right. Hey, Patrick, again, thanks for taking a little time out of your Sunday and joining us on the Car Doctor program.
Thank you so much for the kind words and welcoming us. We're happy to come on anytime, and thanks so much. You guys have an awesome day and a great weekend, and happy Mother's Day to everybody.
Happy Mother's Day to you as well, and your family, and moms all over the world. So why don't we take a break, pay some bills. My name's John Paul. This is the Car Doctor program. You're listening on 95.9 WATD. We'll be right back.
AAA is with you at every moment in your life. They have 24-hour 7 roadside assistance, which covers you in any car you're driving or riding in, even a rental or your friend's wheels. They have great member rates on home and auto insurance, savings on travel, hotels, and rental cars, and discounts on hundreds of your favorite brands. You're covered on and off the road. Learn more at aaa.com/join.
Start your Sunday off right with brunch at the Old Hitching Post in Hanson. The Old Hitching Post offers a full buffet brunch every Sunday from 10 to 1. Fill up on all your favorites like eggs and bacon, sausage, home fries, French toast casserole, mac and cheese, homemade hash, fresh seafood, rice, veggies, fresh fruit, quiche, yogurt parfaits, pastries, ham, omelets, eggs Benedict, and more. The Old Hitching Post Sunday brunch from 10 to 1 at 48 Spring Street, Route 58 in Hanson. Online at oldhp.com. That's oldehp.com.
This is Dan Cloutier.
And this is Kim Jennings.
We're from Birch Bear Records. Tune into Twilight Showcase Radio.
Hosted by Sandy Stride and Keith James.
On 95.9 WATD and 95.9WATD.com.
Search for Twilight Showcase on Facebook and visit twilightshowcase.org.
Twilight Showcase, tonight from 8 to 10 on 95.9 WATD. Make an appointment Sunday morning at 11 for John Paul, the Car Doctor, on 95.9 WATD. Now, back to the Car Doctor.
And welcome back to the Car Doctor radio program. My name's John Paul, the Car Doctor, here to help you with your car problems. And pretty good idea. 20% off of Bling Sauce products. So check it out. I'm gonna order some more marine products. It's like I said, it's a good product, and I like to talk about the stuff that I found, and I found this and tried it and been happy with it so far. It does make my car very shiny. If you would like to join us, talk about what makes your life shiny, or wish someone a happy Mother's Day, you can do that too at 781-837-4900. Let's talk to Tom in Weymouth. Tom, good morning. Tom?
There we go. Okay, nobody was there. We couldn't hear you on the radio.
Well,
How you doing,
yeah.
John?
You know, we're still in a temporary studio. So
Sure. Oh, okay.
they're remodeling the main studio, and according to Jesse, it looks almost done. Everything in it's brand new, new console and all that stuff. So I'm sure the station on hold will be back once we're back in the new studio. So a little bit of a struggle, but everything seems to be working, so it's all okay.
No problem. Hey, John, wasn't there a jingle years ago by a company that sells hamburgers, and they had a secret sauce?
I think they did. Yeah, and it's a pretty interesting product because I'll be honest with you. I was watching YouTube one day, and I watched this guy Mike Finnegan, who has, had Finnegan's Garage and Faster by Finnegan, and he's a boat racer and car racer and all that stuff. And I watched something and it said, be the first 50 people to email him or whatever, and we'll send you out a sample of this, stuff. And I've seen and used the stuff for boats, and I'm like, I wonder if I can get it. And I emailed the company, and they sent me out these 3 little bottles of samples. And I'm like, this stuff works really good. And then I went over to AutoZone and said, I'm going to I wanted I didn't care about the interior stuff because my cars don't have leather interiors, so that really didn't mean anything to me. Right. And the regular stuff, and I'm like, clean. You start with a clean car and spray it on, wipe it off. You buff it a little bit with the microfiber cloth, and then afterwards, I noticed when I was sitting there, it was like, a little bit of a haze here and there. So I went back over it with another microfiber cloth, and it comes out really good. And it looks like you spent really hard, long time with like really good wax, and it gives a nice, clean, shiny appearance. So I like it.
Yeah,
so
it does sound like a really good product. And, it's funny that something about wanting to go out and wax your car. I've bought bottles of stuff. I got tons of bottles, never touched them. So I have to do that. And they're all sitting there. But this sounds like one you might want to use,
Well, it's funny you say that. I'm not a yard sale person, but a neighbor of mine, him and his wife go yard sailing every Friday and Saturday. And we're still in Florida, and I think they're heading home in a couple of weeks. And I said to them Friday night, "You going yard sailing tomorrow?" And they're like, "Oh, of course, it's Saturday. We always go yard sailing." And I said, "Oh, do you mind if we go with you?" And I kind of had something in mind because I was looking at some yard sale ad on Facebook, and there was somebody had a box of router bits for like $5, and I said, well, if you're going up there, can I go with you? Can we go with you? And if their router bits are still there, because I wanted to use a router the other day to do some little curve on a piece of wood, and I have a little trim router, but I didn't have the bit I wanted, and
round over,
a little box of them for like $5. So I'm like, I'll go, and I think I saw more, and there was some of the people were moving. Some people I think just have yard sales every day, but in every place I went, there was not even bottles of wax with like a cap full missing out of them. Because I think just like you, a lot of people go out and they're like, oh, I'm going to try the new vinyl. Oh, I'm going to try the McGuire's. I'm going to try the turtle wax. I'm going to try the this. And you look at them and you're like, for $1, I'll buy some.
Yeah.
And the couple we were with, he said, well, how can you not want to buy this? They're pretty much giving them away. You buy one and they give you another one because they're just trying to get rid of them so they can move. And I'm like,
really?
Yeah, you're right. So it is. So I've been trying to narrow my choices down to stuff that works, and I have limited shelf space.
Right.
So but I found that this stuff seems to work. So I agree. I agree with you.
The older we get, the more we limit the amount of work. Hey, John, I want to ask you a question. I have a classic car. And where would you go to sell it? Which venue, if you right now were selling one, I'm thinking about selling it, which venue would you take, to sell it?
You mean like a real event or like a virtual event?
Well, no, I mean like online. I mean wherever they go, eBay.
Yeah.
What do you think? I mean,
I mean certainly Hemmings will give you great exposure.
So they do sell.
Hemmings will give you good exposure. If it's registered, I would take it to. I don't know that I would take it. I don't know that I would take it to Bass Pro over in Foxborough, because there's so many cars that show up on a Thursday night.
Yeah,
it might get lost
right.
there.
Too big, yeah.
But like the Endicott estate in the second, I think it's the second Sunday, usually after the 4th of July. So like whatever that would be, like the 12th or something. They have a car corral there, and that you get good attendance. Somebody I know over the years, they sold their like regular car, but it was a little bit unusual because it was an odd model, and they sold it there where they didn't get much action trying to put it for sale in normal places. So you might try that. I've noticed that here in Florida there's a Cars and Coffee every Wednesday at a little Plaza parking lot, and every week I go there, there can be something from a very expensive Corvette that's for sale for $80,000 to there was a woman there with a 4-door sort of a 32 Ford hot rod, and I said to her, oh, this looks pretty nice, and it was kind of funny. I said to her, well, you must be a real estate agent, and she said, why do you say that? I said, well, you have a tray of cookies sitting on the back of the car, just like as if you were selling a house. And she said, well, yeah. She said, I'm not a real estate agent, but I thought somebody would come over and look at the cookies and maybe look at the car at the same time. And she just had, she had her phone number and price on the back of the car. And what happened was, and I do it all the time, when I see a car for sale, I take a picture of it and post it on Facebook, and sometimes what I've been told happens is somebody else will see it on Facebook and they'll give them a call. And I said, this car is kind of interesting. I said, it's not a crazy hot rod. I said, it looks like a pretty stock engine with headers, fairly quiet exhaust. It was a little unique because it was kind of a 4-door. It was a little bit easy to get in and out of. I said, what's the story with this? She said, well, I bought it for my boyfriend for his birthday a couple of years ago, and he left, so I have the car, and she said, well, he left, and I still have the car, so I'm just trying to sell the car now, and move on to a new boyfriend, and maybe something else. So So that boyfriend didn't work out, so a new one would, and I saw a pretty something that I was looking for years. Somebody had a extended cab Ranger pickup truck. It was a Florida vehicle. It had been here its whole life. The mileage was kind of high on it, but not extraordinarily high for the year. And they wanted like $3,500 for it. And I said, this is the car that I was looking for years to either, leave as a spare car in Florida or leave as a spare car up in Massachusetts. Because, how handy is it to have a little pickup truck every once in a while, and it was cheap, so you can see a variety of different vehicles that are for sale. Sometimes you get some real interest with people that, have the extra room or they're just looking for what kind of car it is. So remind me, what do you have?
It's a 1970 Judge, GTO. Judge.
Oh, okay. Hot car, and it's a real Judge?
Oh, yeah, it's documented. It's numbers matching engine, transmission, rear end, but it needs body. Like the body is kind of original, and this and that. But it's original. I haven't had it too long, but I'm getting old. I just can't really kind of keep. Well, me and my nephew have it. Yeah, so it was just
and the idea it's a Pontiac and they don't make Pontiacs anymore makes it that much more collectible. I would, there are like dedicated Pontiac shows. There's different things you can do. friend of mine I've met over the years is a Pontiac enthusiast. The guy who writes the automotive column for the Herald, Mark Rosso, I think now owns 11 Pontiacs, and they're all stunningly beautiful vehicles. In fact, he just bought something that's like a one of five late model Pontiacs. It was like a 89 or something like that. But he owns a 64. Catalina or something. I mean, beautifully stunning vehicles. But the GTO Judge, that's a car that people are looking for and people want to buy. So I would think the hardest part about that's going to be establishing a price.
Well, that's really it. Yeah, I mean, I haven't had it too long. I know what we paid for it, and sometimes you don't know, how much, to pay. Did you pay too much? Did you pay? Because I guess it's what somebody's willing to pay,
Right.
But they're all over the board,
Right, and that's just it. And it's hard to say something like best reasonable offer because you're going to get people that are crazy. You're better off just trying to set. Do a little online research, see what other ones are going for. Make sure they're, not Le Manses that were turned into. GTO
no, I got
judges.
the PHS.
Yep.
I have a lot of what's the word when you have that information from the past? Provenance.
Provenance.
Yeah, I have the original slip from the dealer. I have the Protecto plate. I got a whole bunch of picture of the guy who originally bought it in 19.
Oh, okay.
It's really interesting, all this stuff. This particular person, right, that bought it, he was a very educated person. He was a biologist. We had a little booklet. He kept every track of, I bought 17 gallons today, 39 cents. He wrote it down in this little tiny book, It's really interesting to see some of that stuff. But the original, dealer thing there where he ordered it was kind of interesting. I would think that kind of makes it a little bit more, to somebody anyways, a little bit more.
Well, if people are interested, well, they can email me and I'll get a hold of you, or you can try to get a hold of me, whatever the case is. Just be, like you said, you don't have a price yet, but you haven't, you know what you paid for it. I would do some research. I would go on Hemmings. I would, Facebook Marketplace. You'll get a little bit. I would even post, on some of the Pontiac enthusiast sites or GTO sites.
Yeah.
You and your nephew bounce around on those a little bit and try to get an idea what they're selling for with, the idea that it needs some work. But on the other hand, the idea that it's a complete vehicle and everything matches. Puts the value.
It's a fantastic driver because everything underneath has been replaced. All new brake lines, all new this, all new that, all new suspension. It's a 4-speed. It really is a great driver. It's just somebody who's really good at body work. Like they could make a really special car out of it. Because all that other work is done. New exhaust. That's why I bought it. It was such a great driver.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I mean? It's not when you got to worry about a brake line going or this or that or the front wheel fall. It's all been done.
Oof. Well, it sounds like
I tried to do body work, but I don't have. That's a specialty. I did a little bit.
I mean, it sounds this is another one of those cases where I guess I'm glad I don't have garage space because if I did, I'd want to get it. And I mean, it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
Years and years ago, I met a guy and he worked for an auto parts company, and we were talking, and this was years ago, and we were both younger then. He said, "How many times in your life did you ever stumble across something that was a great deal, but either you couldn't afford it or you had no place to put it?" And I said, once a month probably that happens. And he said, best thing that ever happened, he said, as I started to change jobs and I got more flexibility in my job where I could work from home, he said, I bought an old dairy farm down in Connecticut. And he said, the house is kind of a mess, but it has this concrete cow barn. And he said, I can put 40 cars in there. And now when I find a car that either needs work or somebody's just trying to get rid of because they've had it forever and they're never going to use it, now I finally have a place to put it. And he said, it's not that you have to spend a lot of money. He said, sometimes the deals are just good deals, but you didn't have any place to put it. So he said, now I have a place. He said, my my life is good now. So for people like that, and then unfortunately what happens is, years later you find out somebody like that passed away, and their family goes, I never knew we had all those cars. I had a neighbor here who owned a construction company, and I think he had 30 GM, mostly convertibles, in an old pole barn out in Wisconsin. And he said to me, I just keep the building under my company name, which, I don't really have a company anymore, but I keep the building under my company name so I have someplace to put my cars. And, and he was probably in his late 70s, maybe even 80-ish. And I'm sure, one of these days, and I said, who knows the cars are there? And he goes, you, me, and my buddy over here. And I said, nobody really knows? And he said, no, not really. He said, and he showed me some of the pictures, and, some of them were in good repair and some of them weren't. But, the idea that, someday somebody's going to go, wow, look at all those cars. How come nobody ever knew about that? So, yeah.
Well, you're right. I wouldn't sell this car if I had the right space to just put it there. I'd put it and just let it sit there, to be honest with you. But, when you don't have the space, that's really the killer,
Yep.
To be honest with you. But thank you. Yeah, thanks for the time, John. I'm going to send you in your email something on this car in Hot Rod Magazine. It's very interesting. You will enjoy this article. It's on this car, how it was found in the barn. Okay, I'll let you know.
That'd be perfect. Okay.
Thanks,
you.
All right,
John.
Take
care. Bye-bye. Why don't we take another break? My name's John Paul. This is the Car Doctor program. If you want to join us, 781-837-4900, 781-837-4900. And remember, if you want to try the Bling Sauce products, go on their website, and Radio 20 will give you 20% off, which very generous of Patrick to do that, and we thank you for that. We'll be right back.
AAA is with you at every moment in your life. They have 24-hour 7 roadside assistance, which covers you in any car you're driving or riding in, even a rental or your friend's wheels. They have great member rates on home and auto insurance, savings on travel, hotels, and rental cars, and discounts on hundreds of your favorite brands. You're covered on and off the road. Learn more at aaa.com/join.
Start your Sunday off right with brunch at the Old Hitching Post in Hanson. The Old Hitching Post offers a full buffet brunch every Sunday from 10 to 1. Fill up on all your favorites like eggs and bacon, sausage, home fries, French toast casserole, mac and cheese, homemade hash, fresh seafood, rice, veggies, fresh fruit, quiche, yogurt parfaits, pastries, ham, omelets, eggs Benedict, and more. The Old Hitching Post Sunday brunch from 10 to 1 at 48 Spring Street, Route 58 in Hanson. Online at oldhp.com. That's oldehp.com.
Hey there, folks. It's Quinn Kelly reminding you to tune in Sunday night at 5 for the South Shore's first voice in sports talk radio, The Sports Exchange. Unmatched coverage of local high school action, as well as a relatable voice on all things Boston pro sports. We've got you covered live at 5 every Sunday night. Have a question for our host, missed last week's show, or just want to share a great sports story? You can find us on Twitter at SE on WATD. But remember, mark your calendar, folks, and we'll see you Sunday night at 5 for the Sports Exchange on 95.9 WATD.
Make an appointment Sunday morning at 11 for John Paul, the Car Doctor, on 95.9 WATD. Now, back to the Car Doctor.
And welcome back to the Car Doctor program on 95.9 WATD. Our phone number is 781-837-4900. And we were just listening to the restaurant commercial, and they were talking about brunch and how I didn't really have any breakfast this morning other than leftover. Then it transitioned on to, I don't know, smoking brisket and ribs and stuff. So, I think sometimes the conversation in between the actual program can get kind of interesting, and Jesse always adds a little interesting spark to it too. So
it always makes me hungry.
Well, me too, and why not? We talked about YouTube and YouTubers and all that sort of stuff. So I watch a fair amount of YouTube, and I guess I just recently, and maybe other people know this, but if you're watching YouTube and you get these, 50-second commercials or 60-second commercials that pop up, sometimes if you click up, if you're watching it on TV with Fire Stick or something like that. You click up to the information. It says stop seeing this ad, and then you click again and it says return to the video. And instead of 60 seconds of stuff you don't want to watch, you can get out of it usually within 3 seconds or so.
Look at that.
Yeah, so
I believe if you run a VPN, you can also kind of skip ads on YouTube.
Yeah, I don't, and I probably should because I don't know. People say you should. I don't know why, but I don't run a VPN on my TV. If somebody wants to hack my television and then into my network, and then if that happens, it happens. So
they're going to find out really what your stats are and how much of the Real Housewives of Atlanta you've been watching. That's the last thing you want.
That is exactly it. How did you know? That is
because I hacked your TV. I understand.
Yeah. So that's exactly what I do, and that's how it all works. So, and somebody else also wrote to me and said they heard me. They found the program interesting. And actually, one of the people was Ray Brown from Talking Birds. He actually sent me a nice email last week. And apparently he is an electric vehicle user. So he liked the program about electric vehicles, which we'll do more of coming up in the future.
Yeah, he's got his Tesla parked in the parking lot. Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. But somebody else wrote to me and said, I listen to your radio program live when I can or podcast when I can't. Your guests are very interesting. Brian Loans, the NHRA announcer, was really good. Riley, the college girl who rebuilds carburetors, was inspiring. And the electric vehicle expert was very informative. And they said, and I guess as a compliment, they said, when you interview these people, I feel like I'm eavesdropping on the conversation between two friends. I would like it if you could get some other YouTubers on my program. And their suggestions are Scotty Kilmer, Faye from Pistons and Pixie Dust, Mike Finnegan, who we talked about, and Rich from Rich Rebuilds, and Derek from Vice Grip Garage. I'll reach out.
I was going to say that's a good compliment because a lot of these shows, the days of like radio voice and these like clearly pre-prepared interviews where it's just too, you feel like you're watching the news almost. Those days are gone. People want to hear like a regular conversation between people who know what they're talking about, and that's kind of the podcast boom.
Yeah. I mean, people who have approached me, and that's how most of my guests, Brian Loans is a friend of mine. I've known him for 15 years now. But, the other ones, it's usually through a PR agency that will contact me. In the case of Patrick Jones, I found their products and I contacted them and said, hey, I found your products. Can we get somebody on to talk about it? Other times, people will come to me, book authors and stuff like that will come to me. YouTubers are a little tricky because they are a lot more, and Jesse, you know a lot more about YouTube than I do, but they are a lot more popular than I expected them to be.
They can be. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Faye Hadley, who was on All Girls Garage and maybe still is, and has a YouTube channel, Pistons and Pixie Dust. She is a Toyota mechanic by trade who actually went to school in Boston to become a therapist and hated it, and decided she really liked fixing cars. And she has a really good story. And I did recently write to her business address. She still runs a shop in San Antonio, Texas now, I think. But I did reach out to someone I thought was her, who apparently was a scammer who was stealing her identity. And
yeah, you get a lot of those as well.
Yeah, which I guess that means you're pretty famous when someone tries to steal your identity, and then they have their own merch page they're trying to sell stuff on. But so I did this time. I tried to reach out through her business rather than through social. Scotty Kilmer actually lives in Rhode Island in the summertime, so I did reach out to him. Rich Rebuilds, who's a Massachusetts guy who really is got famous rebuilding wrecked Teslas when Tesla wouldn't even sell you a lug nut. I have reached out to him in the past, but I'm not actually talking to him. I'm talking to his PR person. Never really went anywhere. I'll try again. Mike Finnegan, like Patrick said, 2-hour wait to get his autograph. I like these people, but and Jesse, if I saw you at a spooky convention, I don't know that I'd wait 2 hours to get your autograph. Sorry to tell you.
Well, there wouldn't be a line, but I would make you stand in front of my booth for 2 hours.
For 2 hours, yeah. Yeah, I appreciate that, yeah.
We just gotta fit that standard,
Yeah. And same thing with Derek from Vice Grip Garage. I saw he was at some event where he was restoring a car kind of in real time, and he had to stop every afternoon to do an autograph signing, and I'm like, holy crap, there's like 300 people waiting in line to get his autograph, and I'm like, these folks are really, these folks have a really big fan base, and I was surprised because, and I guess I shouldn't be, because they've kind of given up their full-time jobs to be on YouTube full-time, and they seem to be making money at it. So
right, yeah, it can do it. Do you think most people are there to do autographs? I feel like autographs have been kind of replaced with just getting photos with people now.
Well, yeah, I mean, selfies definitely, but, it seemed like, they were signing hats and T-shirts and stuff like that, too. So, I don't know that I've ever wanted anyone's autograph.
When it comes to athletes and stuff, I mean, there's a monetary value.
Right.
And I'm sure there is with other celebrities as well, but if you get like a football helmet signed by the football player, then it automatically doubles the value or whatever that could be. So I understand why people do that, but I think for the most part, when people meet celebrities now, they just want to take pictures with them, post it on social media.
Yeah, because I suppose that's going to increase their own social media presence. So
could do that as well.
Yeah, I don't know that I've... Who is the? This is how much of an idiot I am with sports. Who was the Patriots quarterback before Tom Brady?
Drew Bledsoe.
Yep. Drew Bledsoe. So the football I had with his signature on it that I gave to some little kid, I shouldn't have done that.
Oh, you probably could have gotten. I mean, was it a game ball or was it just a random ball?
It was a random.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably worth like $50 or $75. I would. No. I mean, I'm no expert in this kind of stuff, but I would assume it's not a huge money item,
Yeah.
Probably a nicer thing just to give it to some kid.
Yeah, who seemed to appreciate it, and Drew Bledsoe wasn't the most outgoing person in the world. So
no. Again, I'm going to recommend that you got to watch the roast of Tom Brady. Drew Bledsoe was in it, and he was pretty much every joke routed back to just crapping all over Drew Bledsoe. I feel bad for him watching it, but he was a bit of a savage because he got up there and roasted Tom Brady too. I'd recommend it. It was a fun watch.
There we go. Good enough. Hey, that music means we need to go. We will be back next Sunday live at 11 like we always are. And to all the moms out there, happy Mother's Day. Jesse, pick something up at the 7-Eleven on your way home for your wife.
We'll do that, yeah. She loves Slim Jims.
Yeah, there you go. So until next week, make sure you wear your seatbelt, drive safely, be good to your car, and if you see an emergency vehicle by the side of the road, slow down and move over. It saves lives. And, again, happy Mother's Day. Talk to you all next week. Bye-bye.